Hello, hello, hello. I am Doug, and welcome back to this part of Let's Play Final Fantasy. In the last episode, we got the Rosetta Stone. We fought, I think it was Leviathan or the Kraken, one of those, monsters based off of the Greek guys, and I completely screwed up and had to redo the whole dungeon, and I got upset, and it was a whole lot of fun, actually. And in this episode, we're gonna get started on getting the last of the 4 elemental crystals. So, with the Rosetta Stone in hand now, we need to head back to Melmond. There was a guy back there a few episodes ago who, he talked about needing the Rosetta Stone and translating Lufena. So, and I think that's the name of the language. So, anyways, we're gonna go there, get that, and then we'll be able to visit the city of Is it Lufane or? Yeah, it's Lufena. So yeah, we're gonna visit the city of Lufena, and when we do that, we'll be able to go to the next dungeon. Yeah. So if I seem a little out of it, I just got back from work and I showered and worked out and everything, and it's kind of late. Also, my fan's on in the background. It's summer. Forgive me, it's August. So, getting ready for this video, I had to remember where I put the airship, and it's useful because, like, you can just check here, like, it'll show you on the cursor where it is. But I was curious, and our ship's all the way back down there, and it's like, it's funny because, like, the ship initially opens up so much for you, but then it's like, oh, hey, you don't need it anymore, and you just kind of forget about it. So, yeah, we need to go back to Melmond, which is a lot easier to do now that we have the airship. Yeah, I haven't revisited any of the old places yet, because, like, after you get the Mystic Key, there's not really much of a reason to do so. At least, beyond just getting magic spells for the characters who got their class upgrades. So, and I mean, that's one of the downsides about Final Fantasy 1 is, like, in other Final Fantasies, when you go back to the starting areas, like, they can be changed, or, there might be something you couldn't get beforehand. This one, since it's the first, they don't have it, and that's forgivable. But while we're here, I actually do want to pick up the, see if there's any spells that we can actually get. Oh no, these are the higher level ones. Totally forgot that. I probably should have got that for Walt. Don't know why I didn't. Oh, there's probably like some dark magic spell here that like I could have gotten for him. Oh yeah, this is the one I was trying to save. Okay, so yeah. And this is completely random, I didn't plan this. But yeah, teleport. It will teleport you to the previous floor, so that way you don't have to do backtracking, which is really useful, but unfortunately you can't get it unless you're upgraded. And I remember when we first visited Melmond, like, I had to do so much grinding beforehand, but now it's like, I have way more than enough. So yeah, the guy we need to talk to, I think he's somewhere around here. He's like the only guy who doesn't have blue hair. Yep, there he is. His name's Un, or Ane. Let's go with Un. Just a moment, let me see that tablet. This is the Rosetta Stone. This makes it possible to decipher Lufenian. That's the name of the language, Lufenian. Okay. Yes, of course. That's what that was. It all makes sense. Here, allow me to express my gratitude by teaching you Lufenian. Hopefully not using Rosetta Stone, because anyone who went to public school and had to use that can attest it is a horrible way to learn a language. There, now you can speak Lufenian too. And he's just gonna run around looking at graves. So yep, that's it for this place. I do like, like I said, it would have been cool if, like, you could come back and get better items and stuff, but I do like the fact that you had to come, back to a place that you went to relatively early on in your adventure to complete the quest. So, yep, now we have to go to Lufena. Alright, I'm seeing if I have it on the map, actually. Okay. Alright, actually, I have it in my notes. Alright, so that's where Gaia is. I'm probably mispronouncing that, and I hate that. You know, it comes across awkward, and, you know, it's like, you know, it's not like I'm super charming or entertaining or charismatic or anything, but, like, you know, you just feel worse when, like, you screw up something in a video, and that's something I did not know until I started, doing this. Which, you know, is, like I said, something I'm always super happy about doing, and I'm happy I started this, but it's kind of like, you know, I'm learning a lot, and, you know, I'm learning some things I'm not so comfortable with, and things I need to get more comfortable with. Alright, so I think that's the lake that I needed to go to, because, okay, so in my notes it says, you know, Lake South of Gaia. Oh, hey, there's an indicator on the map. Awesome, so did we land there? Nope. Alright. Alright. It says here that west there is like a landing spot. This is what I don't like about the landing in this game. But we did it. And now we get to deal with random encounters for a little bit. You know, I don't know how I feel about dinosaurs and, like, Final Fantasy and stuff, because, like, in D&D, like, I'm kind of more of a fan of, like, you know, the classic kind of, like, you know, fantasy thing, and, you know, like, dinosaurs, I try to avoid using them in games, and, you know, like, because it's really easy for it just to become, like, oversaturated with dinosaurs, like, you need to, like, save them. And, like, you know, since this is based off of D&D, like, I feel like that can give me some, like, sort of, like, avenue of, like, you know, like, I can offer my insight into that. Alright. But yeah. So yeah, like, the dinosaurs, like, their sprites look cool and everything, but it's kind of like, you know, it's a little jarring for me seeing, like, you know, dinosaurs and then wolves. And I mean, admittedly, these wolves, you know, are, like, frosty and cold and can shoot magic and stuff, but it's still like, like, it's a little weird, because, like, a lot of times the dinosaurs in Final Fantasy, like, they'll just be, like, really, really strong, like, they'll just hit hard and that's it. Like, they don't have magic or anything, like, there's no, like, gimmick with them beyond, oh, it's a dinosaur, look out. I don't know. Here we go. Like, it seems really grown on me. Oh wow, there was some lag there. Okey-doke. I think Firaga might be overkill, but who knows. And here he is, the dinosaur again. He's just gonna bite for 1 damage. Really glad they included this guy. Okay, you know what? At least it took a couple hits to bring him down. And here we are, Lufenia. We are the Lufenians, the descendants of the race that once lived among the clouds, the sky people. You use a vessel you call an airship. It was built by one of our ancestors, a man by the name of Sid. Hey, tying it all back, because, like I said, I think in an earlier video, I based the name Sid off of this theory that was floating around for the game Dissidia Final Fantasy. In it, like, one of the popular theories was that the protagonist for Final Fantasy 1 was, like, his name was Sid. Like, that was a name somebody gave him in that game. And so that's why I kind of use it. So that way, the Sid in this game is not only just the guy who made the airships beforehand, but he's also one of the protagonists. It's just like a little Final Fantasy lore thing that's stupid and nerdy, but I like it. We have a legend that has been passed down through many generations. According to this legend, 400 years after the fall of the civilization in the sky, warriors bearing light will come forth to save our people. The light bearers, then the legends is true. I'm not gonna lie, I've been having a rough week. You know, I've been like moving and stuff, and getting the chance to play this game again and, you know, just sit back, talk to NPCs about like lore and listen to this music, it's really helping me. This world is composed of 4 forces: fire, earth, water, and wind. Of these, we showed greatest prowess with the power of wind. High in the sky, we set a castle afloat amidst an azure sea of stars. 400 years ago, we had built a civilization of the highest order. Even beyond the skies we reached, but now that is naught but history. The Sky People would pass on their memories from one generation to the next through rituals, but 400 years is a very long time, and those memories have begun to fade. The flying castle floats on a blue sea of stars beyond the sky. Could the mechanical beings of our ancestors created still function? I'm sorry if like some of these accents don't make any sense. I am literally just trying to play around and make them all sound at least a little different. I feel like I'm doing a good job. Let me know. The castle that floats high above the clouds was once the home of our ancestors. The Mirage Tower is the gateway to that castle. Okay, come on, let's move. But yeah, this, you know, area is just so... I love this area in particular just because you get to talk to all these NPCs, and it's just like, you know, if you've been paying attention, piecing together the story, like, you know, this whole story of, like, you know, a lost civilization that fell because of, you know, corruption and evil and destroyed all this greatness and has set all the world back, not even just this great civilization, but everything else. It's like, it's really well thought out, even if it's not presented to you. It's like a lot of, I don't know, it's not showing so much, and it's not telling, it's just like letting it be seen, and it's like your prerogative to go and find it. And I love that about video games because it gives you like that sense of agency, and, you know, better minds and more eloquent speakers have, you know, figured that out before me. But that's what I like about this game. We came to believe there was another entity controlling the 4 fiends. To ascertain its location, we sent out 5 warriors, but much time has passed since we heard from them. I hope no harm has befallen them. We placed our last hope in the 5 warriors we sent out. It's been said they fell victim to the curse of the fiends and were turned into bats. Interesting. Tiamat blocks the power of wind, the source of the Sky People's strength. We fought a life-and-death struggle with Tiamat, the fiend of wind, but our power was not enough. To this day, her lair remains in the castle in the sky, the flying fortress. While we're on, you know, castles in the sky, my favorite, I think, you know, Studio Ghibli film is Laputa, Castle in the Sky. It was just like such a breathtaking like film, and it was like my first like, you know, actual like anime thing. Like, you know, yeah, I watched Pokemon and stuff, but like I wasn't really paying attention. Laputa was like my favorite one, and it's sidetracking, I know, but it's like, you know, Sky People, Castle in the Sky, Laputa, there's a connection. The castle that floats high above the clouds was once the home of our ancestors. The Mirage Tower is the gateway to that castle. So, this guy here, last guy you should talk to. Totally should just talk to everyone, or if you just want to get this over with, talk to this guy, because before you leave, Legendary Warriors, take this chime with you. It will grant you passage into the Mirage Tower. He's the one we need to talk to get the chime. I just kind of save them for the last because, you know, there's like a progression, like, you know, kind of clockwise of like, you know, the story these guys are telling. Or girls, I assumed they were all guys. I might have just made a mistake there. They all look very effeminate, so... Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm digging myself into a bit of a hole here. I assumed they were all like, you know, kind of like blonde, elfy, Legolas people, but they could have been girls. It's very, very vague. I mean, there's a theory out there that the white mage is just a dude with longer hair. You know? Anyways, yeah, so the Mirage Tower is going to be located in the big desert to the west of here. And I'm actually learning my cardinal directions and not confusing, you know, east and west with left because, like, in my defense, like, they all have E in the name, they all have a T, and, you know, if you aren't paying attention, you're just kind of skimming quickly, it's like, you know what, like, they kind of just look the same at a cursory glance. You know, like I said, I'm probably uploading these all, like, you know, as a bunch, probably, like, last episode, this episode, and probably the next episode as well. And, you know, like, there's probably going to be a gap between all of them, and it's, you know, it's going to seem like nothing to you on the other end, but to me, you know, it's been, like, a decent period. I want to try to get the next video recorded in a shorter time span. Like, for me, it's been about a week. But regardless, like, there's like this weird mental component that goes into making videos that, like, it's another one of those things I didn't really understand until I started making these videos, and it's like I don't even have an audience or any kind of demands like this. This is just like a stupid hobby I do. But, like, you know, it's weird just like how much you gotta, like, of yourself you gotta, like, you know, save throughout the day so you have energy to do this. It's like something I definitely appreciate more of, like, you know, content creators out there who make their living on the internet, you know, entertaining people and having to, like, chug out videos for, like, you know, excuse me, you know, having to check out videos for, like, their, like, revenue. Oh, okay, yeah. I think I remember talking about how, you know, like, a good story always has, like, a trek in, like, the desert, so I'm kind of okay with that. But yeah, so it's like one of those, like, learning experiences for me. And, like, I just was not feeling up to it most days. Like, work really takes a lot out of you, and I mean, anyone can attest to that. But, you know, I'm really happy to always kind of come back to this. Like, you know, like I said, things have been getting a little rough. It's August, so, you know, I'm just angsty, waiting for, you know, my next semester to start. And, you know, like, for me, Final Fantasy, it's, like, always one of those things, like, I get to come back to. So, I'm really, really thankful I get to, you know, have that experience. And, like, today I was listening to music from Final Fantasy 13, which was, like, the first Final Fantasy I played, and it's just like all those emotions were coming back to me, like, you know, the stuff that I remembered when I first played that game and everything. And, you know, like, this I get to play again because, like, this is, like, I think the first it's the first Final Fantasy, yes, but it's like one of my, I want to say it's like the first Final Fantasy for me, and, like, anything really beyond just, like, the first one I'm getting to know on, like, a deeper level that I'm replaying like this. You know, like, in a way, like, this is me doing my first Final Fantasy of, like, learning and looking at it through, like, a deeper lens, I guess. Not just, you know, playing it because, oh yeah, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but because I really want to enjoy these games and share that enjoyment with other people. Yeah, that probably didn't make sense, but I feel good about talking about it, so. Oh yeah, so, I'm not, kind of giving, like, a list of, treasures, because I have the unfortunate fact of my notes are a little, sparse. because the guide I was using, kind of, they started to, I guess, fall off a little bit towards the end, so, and I didn't realize that until, like, later, and, I kind of realized, hey, you know what, it's not too big a deal, I know the map, and I'm just gonna grab all the treasure chests, and, you'll see them, like, what every item is. And I also kind of realized, hey, every time I look up at the treasure, I'm kind of distracting myself, and then I'm, like, not paying attention to what's going on screen. I'm just mashing A most of the time. So it's just kind of, distracting myself needlessly for, like, information that's already presented in the video. So I decided to cut it out for this one. And I think definitely in, like, future Let's Plays, I'm going to figure out a way to balance that. Like, only, announcing, like, important treasures that we're looking for and stuff like that. So, trying to think. Sorry, I'm looking to see if there's anything that heals, paralyzed. I guess not. I guess I'll just go with Diara. So yeah, these are vampires, and if you guys remember, like, we actually, fought, like, one vampire as, like, a boss way early on. I think he was in the Earth dungeon, or maybe that's in that one missing episode that I stupidly deleted all the files for. Okey-doke. So I'm actually going to equip these items, and I'm going to learn what they are for the first time. Get the Vorpal Sword, the Crescent Blade. That's not doing anything for us. Oh, it guards against stone though, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of figured that, like, everyone's pretty set on everything, actually. It's a shame because, like, those treasures, like, all sounded really awesome, but, and it's why I like the fact that I just, have been grinding so much. Yeah, it might take away some of the, fun factor of finding those rare treasures, but I'm a lot more equipped to handling these, dungeons now, I think. Doke, I think we can finish them off with one hit. Yikes. Back in the, like, early parts of this Let's Play, like, Monty would have been down after this, but at least he's got a little more HP. It slowly accumulates, but I do appreciate that. And we're just getting so much gil, like... Final Fantasy 1, I think, like, after playing it, like, close to twice through now, it's weird in how, like, the real challenging part is the early game where, like, money is hard to find, XP is really important, and now it's like, oh hey, you really don't need to worry anymore. Like, we get a buttload of gil right now, and, like, most of the items we buy from shops, you get better ones in the dungeons anyways. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, the difficulty curve isn't like other Final Fantasy games, honestly, although I'm really curious to how the whole don't know why I was going for magic, how the bonus dungeons are going to work out, because I honestly have I haven't tackled them before. I think I might try to do it in my, like, other file where, like, I actually beat the game, see how they stack up, but I kind of want to go in with just more of, like, a, I don't know, blind reaction instead of my whole, like, oh, I kind of know where I'm going, half remembering stuff. But, like, we'll see, Like, I kind of want more of, like, a fresh set of eyes thing and just kind of following a guide, basically, instead of, like, trying to pass myself off like I'm really knowledgeable on this subject. Because, like, like, I definitely appreciate, like, that kind of level of, like, professionalism in, like, some Let's Plays, but I've realized now, like, I'm not that knowledgeable. That's not me. That's not my way of explaining things. Like, you know, the way I talk is like very choppy. I kind of ramble sometimes. And, you know, I feel like I need to be more honest with that in my videos instead of, like, fumbling and trying to, you know, list facts and figures and how the statistics of the game work. When really it's like, I kind of know it's like, you use A hit, strength is good, that kind of thing. Just checking to see this new sword if it's anything. That's weird. Oh wow, that's actually really cool. Helps out with Vault a little bit. Death is kind of one of those not so good spells where, you know, yeah, killing all the enemies seems like it'd be a great idea until you realize that most of them, the ones you really want to kill, have like an immunity to it. So it doesn't work out quite as intended, but still, it actually has some really good stats, and I don't know anything about like items that can be dropped from enemies, actually. That's something that, like, you know, I think is more important in the later games. Whereas in like this game, I beat it without ever getting a weapon or a piece of armor from any enemies. You really don't need them. Like, the dungeons themselves, like, provide more than enough, I think, gear than you're ever going to need. And, you know, like, this Let's Play has been proof of that. And I gotta say, like, I'm having a pretty decent time right now with, like, the fights. Like, they're, like, you know, not too, like, challenging, I'd say, but, like, they're more, like, they're not just, you know, mash A the whole time. Like, I feel like we're at a pretty decent space right now, and that ribbon's coming in useful, like, where it's like, you know, and I think we were at this area earlier as well, where, like, I mentioned that I liked how enemies are posing a bit of a threat. You know, we can take them down quickly, but they could take us down quickly. Now it's like, enemies are sturdy enough, and, like, if I'm not careful, I could probably get wiped, but, like, right now, I think everything's good. Like, you know, like, enough where I need to keep on my toes, but, like, you know, not enough where it's like, oh god, every fight's a nightmare. Okay. Yeah, these guardians, so, like, kind of, like, going off the whole idea of, like, an ancient advanced civilization, these are kind of like the remnants of it. Like, that robot we ran into, he's, like, one of these guys, basically. And that robot there is one we gotta talk to, actually. Ooh. This will be interesting, actually. I want to see how this goes. I don't think these guys will be too much of a problem. How's everyone looking on HP? But just in case, and in case this lasts more than, like, 2 rounds, I'm going to cast Protectora just to make sure we're okay. Yeah, really, that mummy was the only one I was really scared of. Oh, these guys run away? That's interesting. Haha, Protectora helped. Wow. Okay, they went down pretty easy. And Walt's doing a lot more damage with his magic now, and I don't know if it's just because we're higher level or, you know, enemies are susceptible to it or they're just weak, but I'm happy. You know, Walt's really come around, especially after that whole, you know, stupid pun of an episode where we warmed up to Walt, or I did anyways. But, like, you know, I do like it. Like, he's not as useful as the Black Mage in dealing damage, but, like, when it comes to the bosses, like, I actually really do appreciate having Walt there and having him be able to cast certain spells when I need it. And if I play this game again, like, on my own time, like, if they ever have a remake released on, like, another console or something, I'm definitely gonna try out the Red Mage again and, like, try to maybe tweak him a little bit. Like, you know, figure out a new way to play him that is more buffing rather than, like, damage dealing. And I gotta, you know, I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of, like, the soundtrack in this dungeon currently. Partially probably because, you know, we've been interrupted by a lot of fights in this one more than others, but, you know, and I don't know if, like, because there's like this gap in between videos for me, if like this one had been played in another area beforehand. But it's not too bad. Like, it's kind of like, you know, at this point it's kind of almost become like a ritual, you know, like, oh yeah, yep, this is another dungeon, nothing crazy, but, you know, like, still kind of serious. Like, this is amping you up, and like, I think it kind of captures the essence of like, if this dungeon is giving you a hard time, you need to train and do better and like get to a better spot, because it's only going to get more intense from here on out. I think coming up, not in this dungeon, but in the one after, the Sky Tower, which actually takes place immediately after this one. I'm probably going to cut it right as we get there. But in it, there's like this one hallway where it's like, there's this really rare like boss level monster that you can encounter, who is like, I think he drops like a really rare item or something, but like, it's like, there's only so many chances you can run into him. And, you know, I didn't get a chance to run into him the first time, and apparently he can, like, really wipe the floor with you. And, you know, I'm probably hyping him up just to run into him, and just, you know, suddenly, oh, hey, it's really easy, like what tends to happen. But, you know, I kind of hope we get to run into him, and I don't know if I'm going to, like, waste time and go through that whole thing, because, you know, like, I still have flashbacks to that whole time when I went down that stupid, giant or I think it was like Ilgigas or whatever, like that one hallway where you know, I totally just wasted yours and my time by just going down that hallway where every single tile was giant monster. And like, you know, I don't want to do that again. But, you know, it would be cool to run into that thing again, especially after, you know, hyping it's a machine. I don't know what gender it is. After hyping it up that way, like, I think it'd be interesting to actually finally fight it. So we got some items now. I don't know if any of them are going to be any, like, you know, special things, but we'll see. Okay, so Sunblade. It deals more than the Defender. Lowers our accuracy, but I'm not too worried about it. We've been pretty set, all things considered. Although, actually, there's something I want to check. Okay, Thor's hammer. No. Alright. Alright, Dragon Mail is basically the same as Diamond Armor. We got a second Deathbringer, wow. It's funny, because, like, I didn't get any of these when I went through this dungeon the first time. So, Thor's Hammer is actually a pretty good upgrade for Lily. It casts Thundara when used. The gauntlets do that already, so it's a little repetitive, I guess, in that aspect. But it's nice to have, just because it means Lily might do an extra 10 points of damage or something, which I'm totally cool with. And it might have, like, a cool looking model if we get the chance to see it. But dang, like, Walt is really coming into his own. Like, he's one-shotting enemies finally. Or he kind of started out doing that, but then he fell behind a little bit, and he's able to, you know, cast magic effectively. And, like, you know, when he's not able to one-shot them, I don't feel like it's because he has, like, he's bad with, you know, black magic. I feel like it's because, you know, these enemies have a certain resistance to it or whatever. I mean, I do wish I could have shown off, like, the level 3 black magic spells, you know, Thundaga and Blizzaga, because, like, those are really cool and I really like them. But, you know, I think I'll show them off in, like, a bonus video or something, or those spells don't go anywhere, so we'll definitely get to see them later in the franchise. Okay, robot boys. Our friend left on a journey to the west. Took the warp cube and went to see our master. Little shout out to Journey to the West, and also that warp cube that we got earlier. So yeah, there's only, I believe, 3 floors to the Mirage Tower, and we just finished up the second one, so it's almost time to call it, actually. Alright, 1 Firaga should do it. Here we go. Yeah, the only thing that really I think will make this dungeon difficult is that, like, we, I don't think we get a chance to heal in between, like, this dungeon and the next one, and I didn't pick up any ethers or supplies before heading out. We didn't deplenish them too much, but I think I'll, definitely have to keep an eye out for it next time. It's something to, I don't know, I think I'll finally add a little, threat and stakes to this, because so far it's been pretty safe. And here's Blue Dragon. I think he's, like, actually one enforced encounter here. He's a tile monster, and he's, I guess akin to this dungeon's boss. This is more of like I feel like this dungeon is more here just to wear you out. So that way when you get to the, castle in the sky, it's like, oh hey, technically this is a new dungeon, instead of just adding a bunch of floors to pad for time. But it goes down pretty easy, although I didn't get the chance to do anything. Use the warp cube to travel beyond the sky. It will take you to the flying fortress. Oh wow. Yeah, so sorry that my totally legit copy of Final Fantasy 1 is glitching out like that. Don't know what's happening there. And here we are at the Flying Fortress, first floor. I really like this dungeon. I love the music. I love the aesthetic. Like I said, it reminds me of Laputa, Castle in the Sky, and it's just a really fun dungeon. There's this like real sense of like, the closing of a chapter in the story. So we're gonna call it here though, because we've been at it for a little bit. And don't worry, this episode's gonna be uploaded along with the one afterwards, so it's gonna be like a couple days for me, but for you it's gonna be maybe a couple minutes. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I had a good time. I hope you did as well. I'm Doug, and I'm happy you're here. Take care of yourself. Bye.